What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to do a badass or trash review of Scream 6. Just saw it last night. Don't have any notes, but I just want to go through a full-on review, and I want to try to stay as concise as possible. I do have a good bit of gripes, but I want to try to stay very contextualized and very, just by the numbers. I don't want to kind of go all over the place, so I'm going to try to keep this thing straight and narrow. Hope you can follow me with it. If you like any of my opinions or you like this review, you wouldn't mind leaving a like on this video, subbing to the channel. And it's okay. If you don't like my opinion, that's fine. Let me know down in the comments. Let me know how you feel about Scream 6. And let's have a good conversation. No bullshit. Don't just shit on me because of my opinion, okay? And I won't shit on yours. But I'm fine with some good conversation down in the comments below. So anyway, with that being said, let's do a badass or trash review of Scream 6. So let me start off by saying that every movie in this franchise has been good, including 6. Okay, I just want to start off with that because while I might rip into Scream 6 a little bit, all in all, it's a good film. I need to go see it again, and honestly, I'd be fine with paying money to go see it again because I liked it. I liked it enough. So let's get into it. So starting off, let me just say that I thought the film was pretty good. I will say, like, the opening sequence, I thought that was a very different opening sequence. Spoiler warning, by the way, before I really get into it. I'm gonna try to stay as concise as possible, like I said before, but I might hop around a little bit. And so let's just start off the easy way. Let's start off with the opening sequence of this movie. You know, the Scream movies are known for these huge, larger than life openings. And this one was right up there. It was definitely different. It was definitely was unique with, you have Samara Weaving. She goes into a dark alley. She gets stabbed to death. The killer reveals himself. He goes back to his apartment, kind of finds out he's like a crazy, stab nut. And, he ends up getting killed too by the actual killer. And I thought that was really interesting. And it was a different way to start the film. So it set the stage. I was like, okay, I was digging it. So pretty much the characters that you knew and loved from Scream 5, they go into this one, they go to New York to start a new life and go to college and things like that before things go batshit crazy, right? There's always there's rumors about Sam actually being the conspirator behind the Ghostface killings and that she killed Richie. When she killed Richie, it just solidified that, and so, Sam is dealing with this issue along with the whole, her dad's a serial killer who is Billy Loomis. And so she's trying to battle through that and trying to not fall into the same darkness that her dad had fallen into, while also trying to be a big sister to her sister, Tara, played by Jenna Ortega. And, I love their dynamic. I think that's one of the strongest parts of this movie is I think that the dynamic between Tara and Sam is really, really good. I like both of those characters way better than I did in Scream 5. I thought they were just all around good characters. I loved their vibe. They had great chemistry, and I just really liked them. I liked them, and they definitely feel like sisters. And I really, really enjoyed that part of the movie. But while also saying that, the other two people of the core four, okay, Randy's niece and nephew, Chad and Mindy, I believe, I do not like those characters. I just don't. I'm sorry, dude. Maybe I'm a stickler, but bro, I don't like Chad or Mindy, specifically Mindy. I think she's annoying. She's supposed to be kind of like the Randy of this new group. Knowing the movies and knowing the tropes and sequels and requels and all that stuff. But man, she's just really annoying. And during that sequence where they're in the park and she's like telling them, okay, what to expect this time around because of her knowledge of the movies, I thought it just went on way too long. Like way, 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 way too long. And for the first time in this series, I feel like they didn't know where to go with it. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's besides the point. We want to try to stay a little bit more concise here. But then you see Ghostface actually interact with our characters, Tara and Sam. They show that scene in the trailer where they go into the store and Ghostface runs in there, just so abrasive in front of everybody, kills a couple people. He steals a shotgun from the clerk, kills the guy, kills the clerk, and then goes after them, and they have to escape. I thought that was really good. I thought that was had a lot of tension. Something that that I was desperately hoping for in this one, and it was there. I liked it. But then you get into characters that, for a fact, and again, I said spoiler warning, so I'm about to spoil the movie. So if you don't know who the killers are, I suggest you click off this video. Then they bring in characters that I knew right away were the killers. And I think that's the problem with this franchise, is that here as of late, especially with these two movies, they really made it blatantly obvious who the killers are. I wasn't as surprised as I used to be when I was younger. Now, granted, I have seen a lot of Scream movies. I've seen a lot of horror movies, so it's not like maybe it's because I've gotten used to the formula. I kind of know what to expect. But with this one specifically, I knew who the killers were, like pretty much right away. As soon as you saw the detective, and he said, I forgot what he says exactly, but I was like, that guy's definitely part of it. And then Tara and Sam have a roommate. Her name's Quinn, and apparently she's like a freaking sex fiend, apparently. And I knew right away that she was the killer. You know, I just knew it. You know what I mean? And so, like, I just felt like I can't enjoy these movies like I used to. Even, like, the other killer that's revealed ends up being that the guy that's hanging around with the core four. He's got curly hair. I don't remember what his name is. But even when he was revealed to be the killer, it wasn't surprising because they said it the whole film that he was the killer. Like, literally, they were telling you, this guy is definitely part of it. And so when you get the reveal at the end of it, it just felt very lackluster. Again, we'll get to that. But I just want to do like a sidebar. But yeah, so I don't like the other two people of the core four. Mindy, I just think she's annoying. And Chad, I just think he's just there. They try to do like a little relationship between Chad and Jenna. And, Chad and Tara, I'm sorry. Jenna is the actress. And I just wasn't feeling it, man. Like, I just wasn't feeling it. Look, I can give two shits about this relationship stuff. But I know this is a part of the Scream films. It's part of, like, horror in general. Like, there's love in horror movies. That's what makes it beautiful. Like, you would think a movie that you would think, like, probably wouldn't focus on that, but they do. Horror movies focus on love because your loved ones could die, so you have to express that love before it's too late. So, I'm fine with them showing it. It just didn't hit as hard for me, in a sense that it didn't feel genuine. It felt like it was rushed. To me, this is what it looked like. Jenna Ortega is a cute lady, and Chad is a good-looking dude. And what they did was they said, hey, look, two good-looking people, let's just make them kiss. It's like that little meme of Mike Tyson. Now, kith. Like, that's what it reminded me of. And I was just like, like, whatever. But I just thought it was rushed, I just didn't really care. I don't have any emotional attachment to these characters. And like people are saying, like, the core four is comparable to the original, like, cast, like, from Scream 1. Obviously, people are not saying they're better than the cast of Scream 1, and they better not, because there's no way in hell. But I don't even think they're comparable, to be honest with you. I think, dude, for sure, I just don't think the core four even comes close to that original cast of Stu, Billy, Tatum, Sydney, and Randy. I just think that friend group is it's cemented in horror legacy, really. Not even far past the Scream films. I think it's like, when you think of a friends group, I just don't think there's many in like this genre and media in general that were just so tight-knit and had so much chemistry and bounced off each other. And it sucks because you only really got one real scene where they were all sitting together on the fountain, and it's like, man, to wish that they could have had more scenes together before the events of the film take place. You would have liked to have seen that. Leave her alone. But yeah, so I'm just not really feeling these characters, and so the only relationships that I really cared about was Tara and her sister Sam. Now moving on to other useless characters. Kirby. I know I hate it. I hate to say it because I was one of those people. I was looking forward to seeing Kirby come back into this franchise. Kirby is a fan favorite. She's not really a fan favorite of mine, but I understand. She's a freaking movie buff. Hayden Panettiere oozes charisma, and she's a very beautiful, beautiful woman. She really is. She's beautiful in all kinds of ways. And so, like, I was excited to see her for a lot of those reasons. I love the character in Scream 4. Well, here, she didn't have anything to do. Like, the only thing that really made her, I guess, relevant in this film was the fact that she was a cop. That she was, well, more of like a detective. and she was able to have the tools to run the DNA test on the mask and things like that. But they literally could have brought in just a new character who happens to be a detective for that role. They just brought back Kirby because it's fan service. She literally did nothing to the plot. They even try to make her like a red herring towards the end, and it did for like a second. For like a second, and I know I'm bouncing all over the place, and I apologize. For a second, I did think that, holy crap, is she like the killer? Like that would be kind of wild. But then, like right away, I was like, nah, I don't see it. And then, lo and behold, I was definitely wrong about that because for the 5 seconds I thought about it, because I'm sitting here like, okay, I just don't see it. You know what I mean? Like maybe her getting stabbed could have traumatized her enough to that point. But I don't know. I just didn't see it. You know what I mean? They tried, and that's what Scream has done for years. They try to make you think that, certain characters are the killer. Like in the first one, they try to make you think that the cop, well, the sheriff is the killer. They try to make you think Dewey is the killer at one point when he's talking to Gale, and he's like, "Would you mind walking with me? You're not scared, are you?" And he's got like the flashlight and stuff. It's like, okay, dude, like you're not, you're definitely not the killer, but they're trying to divert your expectations. And I guess you got to give him a little bit of props for that. But yes, I just thought she was a very useless character, and which brings me to another useless character is Gale Stinkin' Weathers, dude. I'm sorry, look, I know Gale Weathers. She's part of the OG cast. I will love Gale Weathers as a character. I love Courtney Cox. I grew up with friends growing up. Like I feel like I basically know this woman. You know what I mean? I love Courtney Cox, and I love the character Gale Weathers. However, I think that she's paid her dues. I think that the character is done. In my opinion, to me, this is what they've done with her character. She was a bitch, very snooty, worried about her book sales, right? Even the first one, she's like, if I find out who the killer is, this could be like, I could save somebody's life. Do you know what that'll do for my book sales? Like she says that to her cameraman in the first Scream. You see like how freaking, you know, self-centered she is. And Dewey sees that, but Dewey, he just thinks she's the most beautiful woman in the world, but he even sees that she's self-centered and all that. But he like he says in Scream 3 to the Gale actress in that movie, he tells her that she's got a good heart and she does care for people. She just thinks it's a sign of weakness if she shows that. So even Dewey sees the good things about Gale, but I think that everything good about Gale was Dewey. So when Dewey dies, she essentially goes backward. Like her character has progressed from Scream 1 all the way to Scream 5, really even mostly Scream 4, but definitely 5, because you see it sucks that her and Dewey split up, but she's a newswoman and she's, in New York, she's doing her own thing, and Dewey just couldn't do that. Dewey just didn't want to leave Woodsboro, and that was why they split up in the first place. But like that whole thing, like it looked like she was kind of doing the right thing. She was progressing in her life. She wasn't being self-centered. She cared about people. She cared about Dewey and Sydney and things like that, and everything they've been through together. Just for her to write a book on everybody who died in the previous movie, her to make more money and become exactly who she was in the first movie. Like she tried to say she cares. Like she came over to Sam and Tara and she's got the microphone and she's trying to interview them like for what happened. And like Sam goes to punch Gale and Gale like moves like, hi, yeah, I've been through this before. And then Tara punches her right in the face. And I giggled. Because I was like, dude, she's right back to where she was when this series started. And I was disappointed, man. I was like, dude, I wasn't like a huge fan of Gale. Like, I love Gale because I've seen her my whole life and I know this character. But to see her regress this much, I was like, man, what are y'all doing with Gale? And so, yeah, I was a little disappointed. I was like, damn, dude. Like, you really just shit on a character you've been building up since the first one. And I don't know. I was disappointed. So she comes in and, she's there for a little bit. Ghostface comes after her. She fights him off pretty well, but she gets stabbed a ton and she gets pretty much left for dead, but apparently it's a faint breathing. And, when the paramedics come in, they, and you assume they're going to take her to the hospital. And then you don't hear about this bitch ever again. Like, the whole rest of the movie goes by and there's not a hospital scene. You don't see a scene of her waking up or anything. And I'm like, what are y'all doing with this character? Like, what do you like? Here's what I'm gonna say. Like, I'll say this, and then we'll get to the end here because I don't really want this going on too long. What I will say is this is the first time in a long time I feel like the writers didn't know what to do with this franchise. So Radio Silence, they took over the writing of these films because rest in peace, the great Wes Craven. He passed away, and Kevin Williamson. He's not really linked to these movies anymore. I wish they would bring him back, but he's not really linked to these movies anymore. I know he's doing his own things. Actually, I saw a movie on Peacock that was called Sick, I believe, and it was directed by Kevin Williamson. Not a bad movie. I don't think it was great, but you could definitely feel the Scream vibes in it. And I was like, damn, like this is what I miss from the Scream franchise, which I like Scream 5, but that's besides the point. I miss Kevin Williamson. And so like I guess like ever since those two are not involved in anymore, with Wes being he passed away, and then with Kevin Williamson not being linked to it anymore, it's almost like they don't know what to do with it now. And it's the first time in this franchise where this movie just almost felt like they didn't know what to do. And that brings me to the final act. The movie was decent, was pretty good. It was more than decent. It was pretty good from pretty much start since the act one up until act three. And so that last 20 to 30 minutes was absolutely ridiculous. And I will say, look, I just thought the writing was bad. I thought the acting was bad. I did not care for the killers. I thought the main conspirator behind it wasn't that good. I thought the motive that is like huge in this film franchise, I thought that was shit. Man, I got a lot of problems with it, man. Starting off, dude, the killer reveal sucks. Okay? Like, one, again, like I said in the beginning of this review, I felt like I guessed who the killers were right off the bat. I knew that Quinn was a killer, and I had a feeling the detective was, but I wasn't quite sure. But, you never count anybody out. The guy, the young guy that was also the killer, I thought maybe he was, but the fact that they kept saying that he was, like, it was so obvious. Like, they were saying, like, he's definitely Ghostface. He's definitely Ghostface. I was like, okay, he's probably not. You know what I mean? That one, like, tricked me. However, they told you the whole movie that he was going to be the killer. And so when he took off his mask, I didn't even recognize the guy. I was like, who the hell is that? Like, as soon as he took his mask off, I turned to my wife, and I was like, who the fuck is that? And I was like, oh, okay, that's the guy they've been saying that's the killer this whole time. So, like, I'm watching it, and I'm just looking at these two people. I'm seeing Quinn, and I'm seeing the young guy. I don't even know what the hell his name is, Noah or something. I don't fucking know. And then I'm seeing in the middle is their dad, right? So brother and sister, dad. Come to find out, you guys know this already. Richie, the killer from Scream 5, he was in their family. He was their brother. He was the son of the dad, and obviously brother to the siblings. And pretty much they were just doing a Scream 2, right? This movie felt like Scream 2. It was revenge. That's all it was. Like, they know Sam killed Richie, and so they wanted revenge, and they were willing to take out anybody to get to her. And, again, like, I seen somebody in the comments of a video that someone had made and said something about, like, well, when it gets to a point where the motives are not going to change all that much. I mean, what's your real motive for wanting to kill people, right? Besides you just being crazy. And I agree with that. But I don't know. I feel like we've seen this revenge plot so many times. And it's like with it here, it didn't hit. I keep saying that it hit as hard. What I mean by this, I can't really feel or get behind the motives of the killers. Not that I want to agree with the killers. Not that I want them to win at the end. But when a killer has a motive that, holy shit, it makes sense why they're doing the things they are, then it's like, okay, I don't agree with you. However, I get where you're coming from. The best example I'll give is like Thanos, right? Thanos snapping his fingers. He wants to deplete half the population in the MCU. And his whole reason is he feels like he's helping. He feels like he's doing like almost like God's work, He gives this really, really powerful argument as to why he chose to do it. He's still wrong. I mean, it's still genocide, but he wants the world to start over. He feels like he's helping out these different planets by wiping out half the population. And so, like, in this one, they're killing because of Richie. But here's the thing, like, and I just don't feel like if Richie was more of a factor, right? Like Richie in Scream 5, I love the actor. Jack Quaid is awesome. And I liked Richie as the killer. However, I didn't feel like he was much different than the other ones, other killers in this franchise. So it's not like he was a huge moving piece. In this movie, they try to make it that, okay, he was a huge fan of these stab movies. The shrine that they come into, that was that was his shrine because he loved this franchise. And like I could get behind it to a certain extent, but I just felt that their motive was weak. I felt like the killers are weak. The way they died was really weak, especially with how tough they are. The way they came off anyway, like the way they moved, how strong they were. I mean, these dudes look legit until the very end where Chad was beating their asses. Like they really could not mess with Chad. I know Chad is like a jock, but they Chad was whooping their asses bad. And so to me, like they started off as like, holy shit, this is the most aggressive version of the killer I've ever seen. And then when that happened, it made them look real human there, like really, really human. And I'm so glad they kept out that line from the trailer where the Ghostface is talking to Gail on the phone, and he tells Gail, "I'm different." I'm so glad they cut that out because he's not any different than any of the other killers that have showed up in this franchise. So I just thought, yeah, at the end of the day, I just thought the reveal was very lackluster. I liked the ending with Sam, she putting on her dad's Ghostface gown and mask, and she killed the dad essentially. I thought that was pretty good. I just didn't care as much because the dad had such bad acting and the motive was just so shitty. I just didn't really care as much. And but it was cool to see. I like the kill with Tara sticking the knife in the one killer's mouth. I thought that was pretty good. But yeah, honestly, at the end of the day, I felt this movie was lackluster, man. I just felt like it had more to add and it didn't. I also felt that the writers, dude, I'm not gonna lie, I felt like the writers didn't know what to do with this film. And let me know if you think like that. If like you might sit here and be like, "Yo, everything you said is bullshit." That's fine. And I still like this movie. I still like it. I want to go see it again. All I'm saying is, I just felt like this movie was just shoehorned in. It was a cash grab. That's what I felt like. The New York setting, it was nice, but it's not like they utilized like a bunch of it. Yeah, you got the subway scene, you got the apartment building, but nothing nuts. You know what I mean? And I didn't really expect a lot from this setting, just because they were going to New York. It's not like I was expecting like the killer to throw somebody off the Empire State Building or something, or the Statue of Liberty or whatever. But I don't know. I just kind of expected something else, and I don't know. Like, I just feel like this was a very lackluster showing of this franchise. I feel like, to me, I mean, look, I might be giving away a little bit of my ranking, but I feel like this is one of the weakest ones, in my opinion. I feel like this is one of the weakest Scream films in the series. Still good, be it. Okay, I will say that. Still good, but I feel like it's one of the weakest. So look, I don't want to keep talking here. I got more thoughts, and I'll probably go over it a little bit more in my ranking. What'd you guys think about Scream 6? I'm going to give it, because I got to give it badass or trash. This is hard, because I can't have it in the middle. I'm going to sit here and say it's trash. So I say it's trash, but I do like it. But I think it has more negatives in it than stuff I like. And so therefore I have to give it trash. I can't give it badass. Badass is like, holy shit, like everything was good. The story was great. This was good. This was good. It wasn't that. To me, I felt like it was more trash than badass to me. And so I'm curious. We got to see what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And yeah, I'm hoping with Scream 7, it goes with a bang, because right now I'm just very, I don't know. But anyway, I'll talk more about it in probably our next video. And with that being said, we'll see you in the next one. Stay dead, my friends.